Hi everyone, this is Mary Ellen. Thank you very much for being here. This is a special events coming forward over the next 3 or 4 days, I'm not totally sure, to bring you some very, very special readings about actual events that have happened. And so if those of you who are new, I'm a clairvoyant person. I've had what I consider a very amazing mystical life, including being given a mystical little cottage in the woods to live in to contain my energy and the stream that comes through my spirit guides. And we have the Libra new moon coming up. You see the cards on the table. I've gotten permission from this couple. One of them is here, and one of them is on the other side. And so we have a reading about their relationship in front of us and about what it is to walk with a soulmate. And I have been given permission now to talk about love. When I was first here, the first 2 years I was on YouTube, my spirit guides didn't want me to go there because they said we were all in preparation. We were in school. So it wasn't really time for us to, well, for me, I guess, to delve into that subject. So, but now I'm delving deep and I'm thanking my spirit guides. So I had a booking come in. Gosh, I think it's just been a week ago. This spirit saying this reading is fresh off the presses. And what I often experience, I don't really sort of put myself out there as a medium, but as anybody who's clairvoyant knows, those things happen and they become very common the more you develop your gift. So since I've been here on YouTube, there have been souls coming across from the other side who want to speak to their loved ones, and people who are spirits talking with me about somebody whose loved one committed suicide and things like that. A couple things. So it is a known, spirit is saying it's a known entity that we have relationships when one partner is not in this realm. Those relationships continue. So there's an important story that wants to come out, and I'm just going to dive in. Actually, Spirit's asking me, I'm going to pick a couple of cards from the Mystical Shaman Oracle. Spirit says to set up the idea that we're going to look into. Okay, so here's the first one. Okay, the lower world. Spirit's talking about this realm that we live in, the lower world, and what it is. Thank you, Spirit. To use our blade to cut through to sever the notion that we are not together. That exists only in physical reality. Spirit's talking to me about my dad who has passed on. So, Spirit, one more card, please. Just to set up this reading for people so they understand. What is it, Spirit, that you want to... Okay, hang on. I just went right past. There it is. So there's the ghost dance. I think my guides are going to channel a couple of messages for you. And actually what happened, so a beautiful woman came, booked a reading, and said, gee, my husband passed on 7, almost 8 years ago, and I'm trying to move on. I'm trying to figure out why I'm stuck and what I want my life back, things like that. And I think she was really just looking for a reading for herself. But what happened was, the minute I sat down at the desk and she started talking about she's recovering from having lost a spouse, her spouse came through and stood right next to me. And I'll probably get all choked up. It was a very beautiful, really intense reading when the husband half of this couple came back with a particular message, and I've gotten permission to not use names or locations, but to put this reading out as it happened, and what it is to do the ghost dance and to cut through the things that bind us from our knowing that, of course, we are together in the mystical realm. We start there as couples, and we end there as couples, whether you come through together or not. And I have done readings for people who are having a literal love affair with someone who's on the other side. These things do exist. I'm here to tell you, I experienced them, and I walked with one of my soulmates in the dream time, for many years. And as it turns out, for over 20 years before that person incarnated here, because there was an age difference. So there are a lot of things that happen. So we have a couple. This is the first card. That's the spirit theme of the message. And we see the idea, that's the Eight of Wands, okay, the elopement of skill. We see the idea of a magical couple, twin flame, whatever you want to call it, soulmate. They are bonded together for eternity. It doesn't mean they'll never have other partners, but it does mean that they are co-walkers in some way. And so this gentleman came through to give some solace to his wife, to his soulmate, about their story, and to tell her the things that he was not able to tell her while he was alive. And the story is about a couple who were separated. The woman had a spell put on her. She was not able to reach her lover. And through some magic, she was turned into a fly. She flew into the mouth of another woman. Spirit says, relevant to the story I'm telling. And because of that magic, she was immediately able to reach her lover. She was reborn in that moment. She was able to communicate. They ran together, ran to the chimney in this great banquet hall, and literally transformed and rose through the smoke hole in the chimney. And when they reached the atmosphere, they turned into swans and flew away. And now I'm getting all choked up. So that gentleman is here again because I'm talking about him. He wants me to say his name, but I don't have permission. His wife will know. So this is the story, exactly the way this happened. This is a perfect picture of this couple, passionate messages coming through me as a medium. And, his wife, symbolically, her energy flying into my mouth so that I can give forward the message that's coming from the other side about the beautiful love story. These are people who are made it through eternity as co-walkers. And Spirit's talking now a little bit of interrupting about twin flames and all that stuff. My spirit guides are saying, look, don't do that. Keep your vision wide, as my guides always say, because we have many co-walkers, and many of them really stimulate us to awaken. So what happened? This couple found each other. They were very deeply in love. The wife talks about how her husband used to just gaze at her all the time. Couldn't take his eyes off her, even as they aged up, just deep, abiding soul knowledge of each other. And as it turns out, he knew. Part of what he came through to say was that he knew about this, and he couldn't tell her. And he was destined to pass on. So we see his destiny here. And here he is coming during this full moon in Libra, where we are meant to come into balance. That's why he came through, to bring their story into balance. So he was meant in his lifetime to bond with this beautiful woman. They had an incredible life together. I can't share the personal details, but truly astounded. They affected change here in the United States. And he was meant, his destiny was to touch death. And he died young, and they shared that adventure, and his wife, his beloved, literally walked him to the gateway of the next world. And so we see the story unfolding here. This is a story about a young man who had to take up a dare to touch death because he saw a tragedy. He saw his village burning to the ground when he stepped out into the town commons to take up this dare under the light of the full moon and to put a rope around a corpse. And when he stepped into the town gallows, he immediately crossed over to the other side. There he met a fairy who told him that he could prevent this tragedy, but he had to go back and sound a warning. And if you knew anything about this person's life, it's pretty amazing that that's part of his life story, was working with societal issues to prevent things that could go wrong. And he actually, in his lifetime, he faced a lot of danger because of his public service work. So this young man traveled back and forth between the realms in order to take up his mission and do what was meant for him. And he eventually went back to behind the veil, and he stayed there forever. So he is here to speak with his beloved and to pull her up from that which might wash her away. And a lot of discussion happened about her grief and the fact that she's been just sort of not fully, not able to fully, okay, the word that's coming is managed, but it's not correct. Not fully touch it, not fully work through the process of grieving. And we see this message from him about, look, honey, and this is what he was saying when he was here speaking. He was saying, I want you to understand my destiny. And I'm here today to pull you up out of that which might wash you away, and that's your grief. And you're drowning in this river of love that we had, but I'm not here. So I'm here today to pull you up to firm ground and to let you know it's time to stop fighting yourself. It's time to stop fighting the experience and to join with me, because I am on my way to a new place. I am beginning the process of reincarnation. And it's been a long journey. It's been 7 or 8 years since he passed over. And one of the things that sort of came out was that the number 8 is the infinity symbol. And he shows himself here in the process, a soul in process, getting ready to regestate with the salmon, the sacred wisdom holder, at his head, which has allowed him to come through. If you don't know about these sacred wisdom animals, go and check. Crow and raven are about messages from across the veil. Eagle has very long vision, very sacred vision. Elk is about stamina for a long journey. And we see the spirit saying it's Athena's owl who used to sit on her shoulder and whisper into her ear. So in a sense, this gentleman came through to talk with his wife about their adventure and about how it is that his journey is playing out and how that affects her journey. So we see them joined together in this new way, in the full light of the sun, the full lion-hearted efforts of the love that they have. And we see that it's time for this woman to go through a process of new growth. And for him, he's in the process of transformation. We can tell by the color of his garments. So this is the Three of Wands. It's about looking forward and knowing that your ship is moving. Look, it's right on the deck. There it is. So that's him. In the whole message is about that's what he's doing. And it is their love that allows him to transform himself in this way. Let's see. I'm going to put that right here, I think. So we see this beautiful message coming forward. And now comes the Libra full moon. That's literally what this is. Allowing him to come through this portal to have this discussion with his love partner. Because this destiny, while they stand now on a new shore, and I'll tell you about the runes in a minute, and they're looking forward, together they still roam the universe. There are the cups. We don't know what's in them. They don't know what their destiny ultimately is going to be. Maybe they'll be together again. We don't know, right? That's the mystery. That's what's meant to unfold. So as we come through this and we go through this moment of balance, this is the great balancer. This is the goddess Elena or Elena. She is literally split open and resewn, and she stands in the universe with him still. See this? Look at this. They still travel together all this time. It is her moment to come back to balance and to be whole again. And he wants her to know that they've been still walking together while he has been on the other side, transforming his own energy in preparation to move forward. And you can see this column of cards. That is the Magician. And he has a lot to say about the magic of the process of their union. So we see the wife in this situation has been his goddess. Her energy she literally walked him to the gateway when he passed. She honored his wishes. This was his life story. He came here from the other side to sound a warning and to do very particular work. This person was in the healing arts. And so they walked together in this way. He knew. One of the things he said when he came was, he knew, but I knew, but I couldn't tell you. I wasn't allowed to tell you. He knew that he wasn't going to stay here very long. And he came through able to do the work he was supposed to do because his partner was already here. And they found each other by some miracle. I think he was actually here first. He was older than her. She, the goddess Elena, is the goddess who helps seafarers find their destination. And so he's been sailing in and out on the ocean of lifetimes, Spirit says. So while he's on the other side all these many years, almost 8, developing and transitioning, they are still connected from the other side. And her energy is helping him with his journey. That's the message, Spirit says. So we see her being pulled up to firm footing now. And we see this little hut and the fire in the background. That's about the happily ever after moment. And he basically is saying to her, you know, look, I'm moving on energetically, so I have the ability to come through at this portal because of all these 0-point moons and all the things that I've been talking about, and pull you up to safety and get you warm and dry so that you can go up to that hut and have your happily ever after with somebody else. And he actually knew who the next man was going to be or who one of the contenders were, and we had a long conversation about that. He kept telling me the initial of this person and urging her to go for it. So we see on the spirit level, this is the augury of knowledge. It's the Ace of Pentacles. And we see part of what he was saying is that I came through. This started on the new moon that was in Pisces. So if you haven't seen that reading on my channel about the new moon in Pisces, go watch it because it'll kind of blow your mind. So it was a moment when energy was sent through to her in order to actualize and activate her. And that's a picture of the goddess Morfessa who touches the stone of wisdom, the Leaf Veil. And this gentleman actually was Irish. And so there are all kinds of pictures and notations about the coronation stone at the Hill of Tara. So that's a discussion for another day. But let's see, I don't know if you can... Do you see the energy that's coming through just below the moon? There was something that happened on the new moon when the portal began to open, and he was able to reach out to her and stimulate her to make an appointment and to have this reading come through me as a medium. It was a demonstration of his will from the other side. The magician, the magic of the moment that he experienced just before he gets ready to move on, because he is in this boat. That is the 10 of Swords. So we see him finishing a cycle. And it's interesting because it was his destiny. He was in a leadership position. And there he is now on the other side, sitting in this boat of souls, standing at the helm, directing them. So part of what came through is that when the full moons come and when the portals open in this manner, there are groups of souls that have been processing their own journey, and they go through the portals in groups when the portals open. So there he is still standing at the helm of this boat, and basically these people are almost ready to reach their destination. They can see the shore. They haven't been able to get there. So this is about the moment of darkness when you think you're not going to reach your destination, but in truth, the destiny has already been played out, and we see the sun coming up behind those hills. So it's the moment when you feel the worst and you're afraid, and again, this woman just needing the reassurance that all these years she's been doing the ghost dance here in the lower world, trying to understand, trying to get the clarity that she needs to know whether she should sever this bond somehow and move on, and she has not been able to. And so it was time to do the ghost dance. So we see the process coming forward, and there they are. And I wish I could say his name. So there they are. He did a lot of speaking about their situation, and one of the reasons this card came out is because this is the revelation of battle. 9 of Swords. All about the anxiety of the situation. And there's his beautiful wife still in this situation. And basically what he was saying was, it's time for that to stop now. It's time for you to understand the fullness of the beauty of the journey that we had. And if you look closely at this woman, her hair begins to turn blue. She throws her hands up. She says prayers. We see that she's bruised. She's crying. Her clothes are ripped. That's the measure of her grief, Spirit's saying. And she also, in that moment, she begins to transform. And she has to go through the process of letting go of him. And it's meant to be a process that has a lot of purity. And we see the notation of winter there. And again, he was basically just saying, you know, don't grieve for me anymore. I'm good. This is the process I've been through. I'm really happy. I want you to be happy too. And so I love that the next card that came out was the 8 of Cups, the elopement of art. When you walk away from something. So in this particular, Spirit telling me he picked this card. In this particular card, we see the female half of this couple looking at the stream of life and really wanting to detach herself and walk away from this. And we see this gentleman, hands on the sacred bowl. That's the sacred cauldron of healing. We see a vessel here. And so there's a message coming through about, well, he's meant to be there. And she's meant to be here. He has his hands on the sacred bowl that is filled with all kinds of treasure. And he is looking straight at the bowl, and she's looking at the stream of life. And we see the courtship of skill here, standing in front of the stream of life. So he basically just explaining, honey, please free yourself. I am gone, and we are not apart. You do not need to carry this forever. You can feel free to love me. I'm going to love you forever. Because when he went back and forth across the realm, he loved this fairy woman so much that he went back and he stayed with her in the sacred realm forever. That was his destiny, was to come here and perform a service. And he did find a feminine partner who helped him find the way. And that's what their message was in this lifetime. So what basically he was saying is that when the portal opens at the full moon, this is the world card. In Soul Tarot, it is the perfecter of energy. And we see a Kundalini awakening, and we see a soul reaching its destination. Full enlightenment. And the swirl and the turn of the swastika, which is about sacred feminine power, and all the petals of wisdom that he has picked up. And what he basically was saying, that on the full moon, when the portal opens, I am returning back into pure energy. And I may come back. I don't really know. It's the magic of the moment. But I'm here to say goodbye to you, because I will not be available in the way I've been available. It's a sacred piece of knowing, my guides are saying, and certainly we experienced it during the reading, which went on for hours and hours. You know, when you walk with someone, it's the second time this woman has walked her beloved literally to the gateway. Ooh, I'm getting all choked up. Souls do have their own process, just like we have in this lifetime. And he's telling us about the process that he's had. Spirit says put it right there at the quadrants. All right? So we see her being activated, being actualized. It was her destiny to stay here and live her life. She is his sacred accompaniment. Very definitely. And so he just said, I'm coming back one more time so you can really speak to me through Mary Ellen, because it's time for me to deliver these messages to you so you really know what this has been about. And the fact that I'm really I'm good. This is the state I'm in. I'm really good. And I'm getting ready to transfer myself. So he's saying he's getting on the bus with the other souls that are passing through, and what they're doing is they're transforming back into literal pure energy. And from that place, there is nothing that can be known in a human form in terms of, you know, am I coming back? Are we going to see each other again? I think the answer is probably, obviously. Who knows when that will happen? 500 years from now, it doesn't matter, because in the place where he exists, there is no time. And so I think this was his last opportunity to be able to actually reach her, because where he's going, he's not going to be able to communicate from there. So tomorrow, I'm going to publish a little video that shows her side of the story. Whatever happened to this woman? So this is their love affair. This is what they experienced. And I want to thank him very, very much for coming. Oh, I almost forgot about the runes. So interestingly enough, this is the rune for radical disruption. A rune came out, one for each of them. So I'm going to read that to you to help you understand the fullness of the message, Spirit says. It's a beautiful, beautiful message appended to these cards because it's so reflective of the journey that they have together. So she's going to, she's going to have a ceremony on the full moon to walk him back across the portal. How beautiful. So this is the rune Hagalaz. Spirit's asking me to put it here. It is about elemental power and disruption. So change, freedom, and liberation are all attributes of this rune. Drawing it indicates a pressing need within the psyche to break free from constricting identification with the material reality of this world and to experience the world of the archetypical mind. The rune of elemental disruption of events that seem to be totally beyond your control, Hagalaz has only an upright position, and yet it always operates through reversal. Spirit's telling me to point to this. When you draw this rune, expect disruption, for it is the great awakener. Although the form the awakening takes may vary, perhaps you will experience a gradual feeling of coming to your senses, as though you are emerging from a deep sleep. Then again, the onset of this power may be such as to rip away the fabric of what you previously knew as your reality, your security, and your understanding of yourself and your relationships and your beliefs in this world. Disruption takes many forms, but do not be dismayed. Whether you created the disruption, and Spirit's talking about the fact that he came through, or whether it comes from an outside source, you are not without power in the situation. Your inner strength, the will you have funded until now in your life, provides support and guidance at a time when everything you've taken for granted is being challenged. And certainly when your husband comes through and says, I want to talk to you because, honey, I'm moving on into the next place, into pure energy, and I won't have, okay, what he's saying is I won't have thought mind in that place. So I want you to know the story, and I want to kiss you goodbye before I go. So let's see, this is one of the cycle runes, and the term radical discontinuity best describes the action of Hagalaz at its most powerful. The more severe the disruption in your life, the more significant and timely are the requirements for your growth. The universe and your own soul are demanding that you do indeed grow. It's just astounding. And so the other rune that came out is the rune for strength. I'm just going to read it. I'm going to be as brief as I can. So this is the rune for manhood and womanhood, and also the wild ox. He's saying that's what he was, the wild ox. He's Irish. He's got quite a sense of humor. So this is the rune of terminations and new beginnings. Okay, Spirit says this is about him, so we're going to put it right there. This is the rune Uruz, and it indicates that the life you have been living has outgrown its form, and that form must die so that new energy can be released in a new form. This is a rune of passage, and as such, part of the cycle of sacred initiation. Positive growth and change may involve a descent into darkness. It just so still blows my mind. As part of the cycle of perpetual renewal. As in nature, this progression consists of 5 aspects: death, decay, fertilization, gestation, and rebirth. And we see all of it here. Thank you, Spirit. Events that are occurring now may well prompt you to undergo a death within yourself. Since self-change is never coerced, we are always free to resist. Remain mindful that the new life is always greater than the old, and prepare then for opportunity disguised as loss. It could involve the loss of someone or something to which you have an intense emotional bond, and through which you are living a part of your life. That part must now be retrieved so that you can live it out for yourself. And again, that was part of the message. Honey, I'm here to pull you up. You got to stop grieving. I'm good. It's time for you to go out and find a new lover. And he actually had a suggestion for her, which still is hilarious. And actually, that gentleman that he was talking about has expressed an interest. So, messages from the other side. Who knew, right? In some way, that bond is being severed now. A relationship is being radically changed. A way of life is coming to an end now. So seek among the ashes and discover a new perspective and a new strength. The ancient symbol for urus was the aurochs, a wild ox. When it was domesticated, which was an immensely difficult task, it could transport heavy loads. So learn to adapt yourself to the demands of this creative time. Firm principles attach to this room. And at the same time, humility is called for, since in order to rule, you must learn how to serve. Urus put you on notice that your soul and the universe support this new growth. So he's saying, that's the story, that's my story, that's our story. And wants everyone to know, while we all ponder these things, twin flame, soulmate, people we've known before. It happens to me a lot because I am blessed with a lot of receptivity. So this is a soul who's come through, because the portal is open and the veil is thin, to tell us a little story about an earthly thing. He's saying, he's actually here, he's saying about the earthly things that actually happen, and the things that we know inside of our soul, inside of the place where we know things that don't really involve our brain. So, new life for both of them. He's thanking his wife for being present with him while he was in his development stage on the other side, and he really wants her to be free now and walk on, because it was always his destiny to come here, stay for a little while, travel back and forth to the sacred realm, and within his passage make sure that the woman that he was devoted to is healthy and happy and whole and activated as a result of their union, because the magic moment has come and he stands in this way. He is about to reach his destination, and it's time for him to move into the realm of pure energy. So really beautiful. Spirit's asking me to put this up here. So thanks for listening. Quite an amazing tale. And I'll be very eager to, I hope tomorrow or the next day I'm going to have time to record the other half of this reading. And my friend Kay, if you're listening, I hope I did justice to this. Thanks, everybody. And do your best to be happy, because we do live in the mystery. And he's here saying there's nothing to be sad about. We all move forward. And destiny is meant to be what it is. And we do come through. Okay, he keeps asking me to move the cards around. I'm going to put this back over here. We do come through with an intention when we come. And we do our best to meet our destiny as he did. And he's saying he was blessed enough to be here with a sacred mate, a soulmate, for this part of his journey as a energy form. An energy vibration. So, beautiful, arriving here in the lower world with his blade to cut this woman free and ask her to move on so that she is no longer entangled in this part of his journey. Absolutely beautiful. And the ghost dance is about, dancing and releasing the sorrow. So beautiful. I want to thank him again for being here and for all of you. And hang on, there's a message coming through. Yeah, he's talking. He's talking about when the full moon comes. If you have a loved one, they might be with him. He might be with that person. And there are people who are moving through. So if you want to contact them before they move into pure energy, the moment is right now, which is why I sort of published this. So I'll leave it at that. Thanks, everyone. Please do me a service. Say thank you to this beautiful man who came here to do us this service of being here for all of us, and definitely for his beautiful soulmate. Such a story. I appreciate the time, and I'll look forward to spinning out the rest of the tale before he moves on. He wants me to get it done before the full moon, so I'm going to do my best. Thanks, everyone. I appreciate it.